So do problem number 2.11 to 2.18, 11th problem to 18th problem, okay, on Gauss law. Try all problem. Let me discuss in the next class, okay. If you can't solve any problem, I'm going to solve it in the class, in the next class. So, and along with that one, example number 2.6, okay, example number 2.6. So how it is written? Example number 6, okay. If I'm saying 2.6, just take only that 6, because I'm just referring little old book, 4th edition only. There are 2 books in the 4th edition. One is what you call blue colored, other one is red color. Red color, isn't it? Yeah. Again, so example number 2.6 is a capacitance problem. Again, you can use electric field due to infinite plate to find, whatever we have derived yesterday evening. You can use that one to find electric field in between the capacitor, okay. So just do that one. Yeah. If you found, yeah, okay. Can you just note it down? Boundary value problem. Not even boundary value problem. They are asking applying boundary condition for applying boundary condition, polarization, those kind of property for electromagnetic waves sometimes. Okay, they are designing question. Only that kind of questions are not there in Griffith. Some questions are there, but that's not sufficient. Apart from that, for all concept in electrodynamics, it is sufficient. Okay, you don't have to worry much about this particular topic. Yeah. Now, let us slowly get into a curl of electric field and potential concept. Okay. Yeah. One thing is, you can just start with your Coulomb's law, 1/4πε0. This is the most general one. Am I right? Rho of r prime d tau prime divided by r square r cap, isn't it? So now what is this one? We say electric field at r. Am I right? We are going to write like this. R is the position vector of the field point, isn't it? So then if you take a curl of E, so what would happen? Again, as before I told, this derivative, it is with respect to xyz. It is with respect to field point, or it is with respect to r, isn't it? So that's why this rho of r dash d tau dash will come out. It will be directly, so you will get del cross r cap by r square. Any idea what it is? Del cross r cap by r square. He hasn't mentioned in the first chapter. Yeah, check it out. First chapter, after curl. So calculate curl of vector function in problem number 1.15, 15th problem. Not that. No, he didn't ask that question. Why? Anyway, can you just try to find curl for this one using Cartesian coordinates? It's better, isn't it? So curl of this one is very easy. Del cross r cap by r square. This is very easy because you can go for polar coordinate, isn't it? But here this r cap, this contain what is r vector? R vector minus r prime vector. That's why you better to go for Cartesian coordinate. You can show that one. This is 0. Okay, this will be 0. You can show that one. This is 0. Null vector. Is that okay? This is a consequence of Coulomb's law itself. Remember, consequence of Coulomb's law itself. Curl equal to 0. Yeah, can you show that one quickly? Again, so this one can show this one. Then we can generalize to this one, isn't it? Do you remember we have shown del dot r cap by r square, isn't it? As 4 phi delta cube of r. Then we have taken del dot italic r cap by italic r square, that's equal to 4 phi delta cube of italic r. We have written like that, isn't it? Like that. Once you find this one, I think if this is 0, this will be 0. Just check it out. So in polar coordinate. Find this one, del cross r cap by r square. So 1 by r square sin theta, r cap, r theta cap, r sin theta phi cap. Can you see that part? Dou by dou r, dou by dou theta, dou by dou phi. What is this one? Only this r cap component is there. Am I right? So that is 1 by r square. 0, 0. Check it out. 1 by r square sin theta, r cap 0, 0, r theta cap, 0, 0, 0. Is that okay? All derivative 0. Check it out. And what I'm saying is you can again do the same thing for this one, but you can't do that one in spherical polar coordinate. Okay, so you better go for Cartesian coordinate, and you can show that one. So this is 0. So I hope you got why I'm discussing this one, because when you take curl of this one, these are the functions of r prime, primed coordinate, but you are taking in this curl, you are taking derivative with respect to unprimed coordinate. So that's why it will be derivative, it will be curl of directly. So can I write that step? That's better. That will be equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught integral of rho of r prime d tau prime, okay, curl of, that will become curl of r cap by r square. Is it okay? Just like we have done for divergence, am I right? So for divergence, we have done the same thing. Just check it out, okay? We have taken the derivative inside, and we have taken the divergence of only this part, and that was 4 phi delta cube of r, like that. So now since that is 0, this whole thing is 0. Curl of, we say, I better say electrostatic field. Why? We are talking about our source charges which are at rest. Is that okay? We are talking about electrostatics here. Is that okay? I better to say curl of electrostatic field. Again, this Coulomb's law is also for electrostatic field. Remember, or it's what do you call, electric field due to rest. So charges at rest. It's electric field due to charges at rest. Remember, I can just rotate. So that is one way. Okay. So once you derive it like this, look at here. What is the next one? You can apply Stokes theorem, isn't it? What is the Stokes theorem? So surface integral, any open surface. Stokes theorem connects open surface to closed loop. Okay. Open surface integral of curl of electric field dot dA, that's equal to closed path integral. What is this path? That is what you call boundary line of the surface, open surface, E bar dot dl bar. Am I right? Now this integral, whatever I have written, this surface can be chosen arbitrarily. Am I right? Or you can do one thing. You can choose any arbitrary path, any arbitrary closed path, and this theorem is true. Am I right? So then, if this is 0, if this whole thing is 0, look at here. Let me start with this one now. E bar dot dl bar, closed path integral, that's equal to a curl of E, surface integral of this one. Okay. Now look at here. What is this surface? This is the surface whose boundary is this path. Okay. So this is any surface whose boundary is this path, that you should remember. Is that okay? Because curl of a vector field is a very special class of vector field whose surface integral is independent of the surface. It depends only on the boundary line. Is that okay? Once you have chosen one closed path, so you can take any surface whose boundary is this closed path, and that surface integral is same. Is that okay? Now look at here. Whatever the surface you take, this is 0. Am I right? So whatever the inside quantity, that itself is 0. This is 0. What it says? Closed path integral of E bar dot dl bar is equal to 0. I told this one. Once these are equivalent, am I right? Del cross E equal to 0. That means this is equivalent to this one, closed path integral equal to 0. Once closed path integral equal to 0, what is this equivalent to? Open path integral is independent of the path, isn't it? It depends only on the endpoint. Those are again equivalent points. Can you just go back to that theorem? Theorem 1, theorem 2, theorem 1, sorry, isn't it? Theorem 1. No, theorem 1 was curless field. Yeah, theorem 1 was curless field. What are the equivalent statements we have written? One is curl equal to 0. Second one is closed line integral equal to 0. Line integral over closed path is equal to 0. Third one is open line integral is independent of the path chosen, depends only on the end point. And what else we have taken? That vector field can be written as gradient of some scalar function, isn't it? Those were the equivalent points. Those were the equivalent statements. Okay. So now look at here. This is one way. Okay, this is one way of seeing that one. Again, he will always try to make it very simple by taking some point charge at the origin like that. We can derive that one. Wait a second. Yeah. You can't again take the derivative at r equal to 0. Yeah, definitely. Because we fixed that one using Gauss theorem, am I right? One side of the Gauss theorem was non-zero, other side was 0. But here it will not affect it. Here it will not affect that one, and we can show again in other method. We can show line integral of the electric field over a closed loop, that is 0. So once you show that one, again one part of the Stokes, now it is related to Stokes theorem, am I right? Again, since Gauss theorem was not satisfied, we tried to edit that. So here Stokes theorem will be satisfied. Okay, both part. Again, you can show in other way closed line integral of electric field is 0. Then you can say this is 0 at the origin also. Okay, yeah, good question. Yeah, any question? Now again, so what are the equivalent statement? Del cross E is equal to 0, null vector, closed line integral of E bar dot dl bar over any closed path is equal to 0. What is the third one? So A to B E bar dot dl bar, independent of the path taken from A to B, depends only on endpoints, isn't it? Depends only on endpoints. Is that okay? So those are equivalent statement. Yeah, let me keep that one side. Now let me do in other way. I'll take a point charge at the origin. Okay, I'll take point charge at the origin. X cap, Y cap, Z cap. I'm going to take Q here. Okay, let me choose 2 points in space. So again, point in space, they are referred by unit vector. Sorry, what is that? Position vectors. Am I right? I'm going from point A to point B in some arbitrary path. Is that okay? In some arbitrary path. So then, yeah. So this is the origin, and I'm going to place plus Q charge at the origin. Is that okay? Now look at here. You are going from point A to point B. A and B are what you call it, denoted by its position vectors. Okay. So now let me take again. Now I know what is the electric field due to this point charge. Am I right? What is that one? Speak out. R square R cap. Am I right? Why we are not writing italic R? That is 0. Why? Charge is at the origin, isn't it? What is the italic R? Italic R vector. That is the position vector of charge. Am I right? Source charge. Now source charge is at the origin. Okay. So that's why you can say your italic R vector is equal to R vector, because R prime vector is a null vector. Okay, it is at the origin. So now you know this electric field. Now I am going to line integrate this electric field from A to B. Is that okay? I am going to line integrate electric field from A to B, E bar dot dl bar. Okay. again, since this vector field, it is in, again, you can write in any coordinate, but it's very easy to do that line integral in polar coordinate, isn't it? So that's why I'm going to write dl vector in polar coordinate. What is dl vector in polar coordinate? hr dr r cap, h theta d theta theta cap, h phi d phi phi cap. Is that okay? What is this one? dr r cap plus r d theta theta cap plus r sin theta d phi phi cap. Just remember that pattern, isn't it? I hope you got that idea, how to write that one. So now if I take dot product between these two, only r cap components will remain, isn't it? Can I write the step directly? 1 by 4 phi epsilon naught integral a to b, q also outside, r cap by r square, dot product with dr r cap, am I right? R cap dot r cap, other dot product vanishes. Okay, let me write it directly. So that is 1 by r square, 1 by r square dr. That becomes scalar. So corresponding to vector A, don't worry about these vectors. Okay, you are doing scalar integral, how to substitute vector. Don't look at that like that. So vector A means this is the position. Remember. Okay. So what is the length of this one, or what is the distance from the origin? A. Is that okay? Mod of A vector, let me call it as A. Mod of B vector, let me call it as B. Is that okay? Once you convert that one into scalar, you better write like this: q by 4 phi epsilon naught integral a to b 1 by r square dr. Or after integral, at least after integral, or if you are doing the integral, what is that one? Minus 1 by r, am I right? A to b. So what you have to put? You have to put scalar distance from the origin at this position, that's the upper limit, scalar distance from the origin at this point in space. Okay, that is the meaning. Don't write vector in the next step. Are you getting my point? This position vector will talk about point in space. You have to take r in this point in space, you have to take r in this point in space. That is the meaning. Okay, so now that means q by minus q by 4 phi epsilon naught. Look at here. I better to write in the scalar form. You may get confusion. 1 by b minus 1 by a. Check it out. So line integral a to b e bar dot dl bar. I got, if I take negative sign inside, q by 4 phi epsilon naught 1 by a minus 1 by b. Check it out. I take a negative sign inside. Is that okay? Now you can see that one. The right hand side of that integral depends only on the end points. Am I right? It doesn't matter which path we have taken, isn't it? So now after this one, quickly I can write this step. Am I right? Now look at here. I haven't used any curl or something in this derivation. What I have taken? I have taken one example. Point charge at the origin, and I have shown that one, and we can generalize that one. Okay? We can generalize the same statement. Let me generalize that one later. So now, once you have shown like this, if suppose A equal to B, suppose if you are taking closed path and you are coming to same point, then this part is equal to 0. So closed path integral of E bar dot dl bar, that's equal to 0 for any closed path. Am I right? When A equal to B, it will become closed path. You are starting from the point and you are ending at the same point, and that will be 0. So once this is 0, again now I can apply Stokes theorem, isn't it? Now I can apply Stokes theorem. How? This closed path integral is for any arbitrary path, am I right? That's equal to 0. I can convert that one into surface integral of del cross E dot dA. If this is 0, this should be 0. Okay, I can show that del cross E equal to 0. Null vector. Is that okay? So now again, this is for one point charge, am I right? Now you can use your superposition principle. What is that? Suppose I have many charges. Net electric field is like this: E1 plus E2 plus and so on. So then I can take curl of E is equal to, so curl due to E1 plus curl due to E2 plus and so on. According to this statement, curl due to point charge, one point charge, that's equal to 0. Again, I'm just adding those electric field to get the resultant electric field. Resultant electric field curl vanishes because individual curl vanishes. That's it. Is that okay? That's equal to 0. You can write like this. So equate the 2 to 0. Is that okay? So that's why if you have a collection of point charges or collection of charges or any charge distribution, curl of electric field, curl of net electric field equal to 0. Remember, this curl is also kind of linear operator. Okay, when you take curl of A plus B, you can write curl of A plus curl of B like that. Okay, it's a kind of linear operator. Now, it's okay. I was talking only about electric field here and its line integral. Now we have seen one fact. A to B E bar dot dl bar it was independent of the path, am I right? So let me take generalized one, not for point charge, okay? Let me take generalized situation for any charge distribution, isn't it? What was the conclusion? So it was independent of the path. Is independent of the path taken from A to B, depends only on the end point, am I right? A and B. Now what I do here is I'm going to keep one of that point constant. Okay, I'm going to keep one of that point constant again. So these are completely our choice. Let me tell you why I'm doing like that. Okay, later. So now E bar dot dl bar. Let me keep one of the point as a reference point. Okay, O. One of the point as a reference point. Is that okay? Let me make other point as variable. R vector. R vector. Is that okay? Now look at here. It was depending on end points. Am I right? I made this point constant. I made this one variable. Then whole thing will be function of this one because this is constant. Isn't it? It depends only on A and B. Am I right? I made A constant. I made B variable. Then it will be depending on that variable B. Is that okay? Now I'm going to put one more negative sign. I'm going to call this one as electrostatic potential. Okay, let me explain why we are going to put that negative sign and all. Is that okay? This is the definition of electrostatic potential and the question, what is that reference point? There will be always ambiguity with it. Is that okay? It's not a unique statement. Electrostatic potential doesn't have unique definition. Yeah, what is the question? No. Individual curl vanishes. That's why net curl vanishes. Okay, I mean, because we have taken for one point charge, am I right? The same thing will happen for all point charge. Individual curl vanishes. Individual point, electric field due to individual point charge. Those are also electrostatic field by the Coulomb's law only, isn't it? So individual vanishes. That's why net electric field curl also vanishes. Yeah. Now again come to this point. So what is this reference point? Now you can choose anything as a reference point. Is that okay? That introduces one ambiguity here, isn't it? I can choose one reference point, you can choose one different reference point. Then potential values will be different, am I right? That again, functionality may remain same, but there may be some additional cost. isn't it? Now look at here, we shall see this one. Yeah, O is some standard reference point. Just write like this. Reference. Look at here. I said standard again, then we have to follow one reference point so that to match our answers. Is that okay? So that's the idea. Next idea. Now look at here. Again, once you fix this one, the whole thing will be function of only this one. Okay? The whole thing is a function of initial and final point, end point, independent of the path taken. Is that okay? Once you make one of the point fixed, then this will become function of this point. Is that okay? That's why we have written this is a scalar which is a function of this point. Okay, R. So now, my next argument is, yeah, it is not unique. Am I right? It is not unique because it depends on this standard reference point. Now, what I do here is I am going to find potential difference. We call this one as electrostatic potential. Electrostatic potential. Okay, electrostatic potential. Now, what I am going to do here is I am going to take potential difference between two. V of B minus V of A. I will take 2 points in space. Okay, I am going to take potential difference. And according to this definition, what is V of B? Minus reference point to B E bar dot dl bar. Equation. E bar dot dl bar minus reference point to A E bar dot dl bar. So check it out. Check it out. Now what I do here is I am going to grab this negative sign inside and I am going to invert the limit. Can I do like that? Integral of A to B is equal to minus integral of B to A. So that's why. So minus integral of O to B E bar dot dl bar. So minus integral of A to O E bar dot dl bar. He is writing O in a very different style, okay? In a very different style. Just see the book later. Now I'll take a negative sign outside. A to O, O to B. I'm going to write this one first, then this one. A to O E bar dot dl bar plus O to B E bar dot dl bar. Am I right? Look at here. You are going from A to that reference point. From that reference point, you are going from that reference point to B. The net integral, you can write as integral A to B E bar dot dl bar. Look at here. That is unique, isn't it? That doesn't have any ambiguity. Is that okay? That's why potential is not any physical quantity actually, because it has got ambiguity. Potential difference is a physical quantity, we shall discuss later. Okay. So that's why potential difference is unique, remember. It is irrespective of the choice of your reference point. Look at here, your reference point is not going to play the role at the end. Isn't it? You are going from A to O, O to B, net integral is A to B. So you can take any path. Am I right? Again, it is independent of it. Is that okay? So that's why I can write potential difference. I can write potential difference V of B minus V of A, that's equal to minus integral A to B E bar dot dl bar. Okay. Do you remember our first theorem? Fundamental theorem of gradients, I think. Yeah, any question? Wait a second, I'll go to that reference point later, okay? He was asking about reference point. Wait a second, okay? We shall start, again, we can't choose the infinity as a reference point always, okay? So again, I have to divide those problem into two parts, okay? Now, so now next, can you just go back to our fundamental theorem of gradient? V of B minus V of A, that can be written as A to B gradient of scalar, am I right? Gradient of scalar dot dl, that was fundamental theorem of gradients, am I right? Now, can you equate these two parts? Isn't it? Now this is also independent of the path. It's also independent of the path. Now what you do while equating these two, take path same. That's your choice. Now you can argue. So here that may be different path, here that may be different path. Am I right? So choose the same path. There is no loss in that generalization. Is that the case? So once you do that one again, so you can equate these two, whatever inside. Am I right? So what is that one? I can write del V is equal to minus E, or I can write E is equal to minus del of V. Okay. Electric field is a great, again, that was a theorem, am I right? That was one of the statement in our theorem. Electric field can be written as gradient of some scalar. Now we made some standard definition from this one, from this definition. Okay. We have started with this one. Yeah, speak up. Over. No, this is not the origin. This reference. R is from the origin. Yeah. You have origin here. That's why he is not writing O. He is writing like this. He is writing O like this in his book. Okay. So again, because we always talk origin as O. Am I right? This is not the origin. This is some reference point. Let me fix some reference point here. Okay. This is my reference point. Now R is your position vector from the origin, where you are going to find the potential. Okay, good question. Read my point. That point was missing. Am I right? This is not the origin. This can be any standard any reference point. Okay, you can choose your own reference point. There is no problem. But later we will. But later we will choose one reference point, standard reference point. Let me tell you. Okay, this is not the origin. Okay, this is not the origin. That will be some point in space. You can take that one as a reference point, but that should be fixed. Once that point is fixed, so again the whole this scalar quantity will be function of this final point. This is variable. We will make that one variable. Okay. Yeah. O is some standard reference point. Okay, somewhere here. Yeah. So ultimately, I got electric field is equal to negative gradient of a scalar potential. Am I right? Wait a second. Now actually, after I derived curl of electric field is equal to 0, I can directly say electric field can be written as some negative gradient of scalar. No need to be negative. Okay, should be gradient of scalar. Vector calculus says only that one. So then from this one I can do reverse engineering to show this one. Is that okay? Isn't it? I can take a line integral from A to B and I can just relate that one to electric field and I can show the standard definition of potential. Okay. So again, that's other part. Again, anyway, so you have to remember this one as well as this one. This is very important. Okay. So that is independent of the reference point. Okay. That is unique. potential difference. You can give physical interpretation for that. So next one is, again, we had Coulomb's law. We can find electric field. From electric field, you can find the force. Now, why we found another quantity, potential? Am I right? The question is, why we are making it lengthy? Are you getting my point? So, ultimately, what we need, force. We can apply Newton's second law and you can find the trajectory of the test charge, isn't it? That's our ultimate aim, is to find the force. Electric field is an intermediate step, isn't it? Now, why we found another quantity, potential here? Speak up. Yeah, it's a scalar. It's very easy to compute. Why? You don't have to do that vector addition, isn't it? If you had two charges to find the electric field, you need to add those electric field vector here. Am I right? Now, if you have two charges, if you want to find net potential at any point, you can add just like a scalar. Am I right? So that's very easy to compute. Again, one more question here is, if you have a potential, that's a scalar. Am I right? But electric field is a vector. Means it contains three components, Ex, Ey, Ez. This is a scalar, only one, isn't it? How does only one scalar can contain all information about a vector? It contains three components. How? The question is, can you write down? How does a scalar contains all information about three components of vector? Question mark. Yeah, how? Isn't it? Now look at here, according to this expression, once you know potential, isn't it? So let us have formalism of finding the potential, okay? You can take the gradient, you got three components, am I right? How that can happen? How one scalar can contain all information about vectors? Again, read out each and every sentence, okay, after the class. So, because, this is a vector. This is not an ordinary vector. It's a vector with curl equal to 0. Is that okay? Curl equal to 0 means if you write those determinant, so you can relate a derivative of those component, am I right? Ex by Ey, dou Ex by dou y to dou Ey by dou x, am I right? So, those components are not all independent, okay? Their derivatives are related actually. So, in this equation, their derivatives are related. It's not an ordinary vector. Electrostatic vector, electrostatic field is a vector field whose curl vanishes. Okay, there's a question here. One of these is impossible to become electrostatic field. Which one is that? You have to find the curl. If curl is non-zero, it cannot become electrostatic field. Is that okay? So now look at here. It's an electrostatic field. It's a special class of vector field whose components are not all independent. They are related by derivative. You can see in this expression. Okay, that's why, since they are dependent, only one potential can give the information about all three components of the vector. Is that okay? So that's our potential formula. Again, our advantage is potential is a scalar. It's very easy to compute. Okay. Again, if suppose Coulomb's law is very difficult, if suppose Gauss law is not helping, what is the next choice? Go for potential formalism. Is that okay? Find the potential, then take the gradient and find the electric field. Yeah, that's the question. Yeah. It doesn't contain, it's a functionality. V as a function of R means V as a function of x, y, z, or V as a function of R, theta, phi. Is that okay? Or your rho phi z, S phi z. Is that okay? So it doesn't contain three components. It's a variable. That's correct. It's a spatial variable. Scalar. It doesn't contain components. Am I right? Scalar means it is only one quantity, depending on spatial point. Okay. So any scalar is a function of r vector. What do you mean by that one? It's a function of position in space. That is the mean. That we don't get confusion with this r vector. Okay. It's a scalar only. It means this one. This means this one. Point in space. Yeah. Now he has given comment on potential. Okay. So comments on potential. First one, comments. He said comment, not property. Okay. So comments. First one is name. Name is little misleading. Okay. Sometimes we say potential energy as potential, isn't it? So throughout quantum mechanics, I think we haven't said everywhere potential. Yeah. Any question? See that one? Any question? Wait a second. That's the next chapter. Next chapter. Okay, potential formalism is studied in the next chapter, only some basics. Okay, yeah. Any other question? Yeah. So, comments on potential. First one is name. Potential is different, potential energy is different. Electrostatic potential is different, potential energy is different. Okay, let me argue later. This potential difference is related to potential energy. It is work done in moving the charge from one point to other point. Look at here. Work done per unit charge. This is the force per unit charge. Line integral of force per unit charge is nothing but work done per unit charge. This is work done per unit charge in moving the charge from one point to other point. Let me define it later. Okay. So that's why first one is name. You should know potential is different, potential energy is different. And sometimes in place of potential energy, we just say potential. But you should know in your mind that whether we are referring to potential energy or potential. Okay. Electrostatic potential is different. Potential energy is different. Okay. So second one. So second one is advantage of potential formula. What is the advantage? As you said, so advantage. So advantage of potential formalism. What is that one? It's a scalar quantity. Once you got some idea to find that one, it's a scalar quantity. It's very easy to compute, and we shall see. We shall find that a scalar quantity, I mean potential due to many charge distribution. Okay, we shall do that. Again, how that scalar contains all information about vector? Because that a vector field, that is our target. Am I right? That was, I mean, their components are related by the derivative. So that's why we are allowed to do like that. Okay. Now, so he has given those ideas. Just read out. So third one is the first one is name. Second one is advantage. So third one is reference point. Reference point. Is it okay? Now earlier I defined V of R as some reference point to R E bar dot dl. Am I right? Let me write V of O. V potential defined by taking O as the reference point. Okay. Now let me take again, suppose this is what I have taken. Suppose you are taking some other reference point, O prime. Potential by taking some other reference point, then what will be, so according to your definition, O prime to R, E bar dot dl bar. Am I right? Now what I do here is minus integral O prime to O E bar dot dl bar. These are point in space. Okay. So plus, not plus, wait a second, plus O to R E bar dot dl bar. Can I write like this? Check it out. So O prime to R. Okay, you can choose any path. I'm choosing the path from O prime to O and from O to R. This integral should be equal to this integral, isn't it? You can choose any path, again independent of the path. Line integral is independent of the path. That's why I'm going from O prime to O. I mean, this is my reference point, this is your reference point. From your reference point, come to my reference point, then go to R. Is that okay? So now look at here, this is one constant because we are fixing our reference point. So this is my reference point, this is your reference point, we are fixing those two. So then O prime to O, this line integral, that depends only on the end points. Am I right? This line integral, that's a constant, isn't it? So I can write this one as minus O to R E bar dot dl bar. So plus some constant, am I right? This whole thing, minus of the whole thing, I'm going to put it as a constant. Is that okay? So V O prime of R. Look at here. So now, if you change your reference point, what will happen? Okay, VO of R is equal to VO prime of R plus some constant. Okay, if you change your reference point, your potential will be changed by constant. And we have seen this one many times, even in classical mechanics. Isn't it? Our potential energy was also a little bit ambiguous, am I right? mgh. What is that height? H. How to take that H? Like that, isn't it? So, no, this is the ambiguity. If you choose O as a reference point, if you choose O dash as a reference point, those potentials are related by one more constant. Okay? Now, so they are deferred by one constant. That's the main point that you have to remember. Now look at here. If you take a gradient, you will get same. Why? Gradient of a constant equal to 0. Is that okay? So choosing different reference point will not affect the final electric field. That's our target. Remember, our target is to find electric field. Is that okay? Choosing different again. So take this one, gradient of V at O. That is should be equal to gradient of V at O prime. Remember. Is that okay? So put one negative sign. That's why electric field should be same. Remember, electric field should not take different values by choosing different reference point. Okay. So even though there is an ambiguity in the potential formalism, it will not affect the definition of electric field. Okay, because electric field is a gradient of potential. Okay. So then, so whatever the reference point you choose, so that gradient will be same. So that is the main point here. Okay. Potential by defining O as a reference point, potential by defining O prime as a reference point. Both have gradient same. That means both will give the same electric field. So that's why whatever the reference point you choose, if you are ultimately you are finding the electric field, so no need to worry. No need to worry. Okay. So but still later we are going to convert entire electrostatic to potential formalism. It's not a good idea to choose different reference point, or it's not a good idea to leave that ambiguity. What is that reference point? Am I right? So that's why we will make one standard choice. That we will make one standard choice for finite charge distribution. Remember, for finite charge distribution, you can choose reference point anywhere. Okay. For finite charge distribution, what do you mean by finite charge distribution? Point charges, collection of point charges, solid sphere, which is charged like that. Okay. Our infinite plane is not finite charge distribution. Yesterday evening we have taken electric field due to infinite plane. Am I right? That's not finite charge distribution. For finite charge distribution, we will take our reference point as infinity. Okay. We will take that reference point as, that's our choice, remember. Okay, there is no logic why we have chosen like that. Is that okay? So once you choose this one, you can define, look at here, you can define your so potential. Now wait a second. For a finite charge distribution, you can put your reference point. Let me tell you what happens if you choose reference point as infinity. For infinite charge distribution, you will get it later. Okay, you will get potential itself is infinity. Okay, you may end up with a trouble. So that's why for a finite charge distribution, not for infinitely long wire, infinitely long cylinder like that. Okay, only for finite charge distribution, you can choose reference point at infinity. That's a standard choice. We all have to follow that one. So whatever I found the answer, you will get the same answer by choosing the same standard, by choosing the same reference point. Is that okay? So that's why potential due to finite charge distribution, you can define it like this. Infinity to r E bar dot dl bar. Infinity to r E bar dot dl bar. Okay, so this is very important. Only for finite charge distribution, you can choose your reference point as infinity. Otherwise, you will end up with the trouble. You will get that one. Yeah, what is that one? Yeah. What is the reference point for infinite charge distribution? Am I right? Infinite charge distribution, you can take reference point anywhere actually. Remember, infinity, other than infinity, we don't have other unique choice. Am I right? Are you getting my point? That's why you can choose any other finite point, any other local point as your reference point. Okay, we shall study those kind of problems. Okay. Yeah. Wait a second. So now, next one is, so according to, I had written one more definition, minus a to b. Am I right? Minus a to b. Yeah, speak out. E bar dot dl bar, that was equal to v of b minus v of a. Am I right? Now let me take this one as minus infinity to r E bar dot dl bar. Am I right? E bar dot dl bar. So that's equal to v at r minus v at infinity. Is that okay? Suppose if you are choosing some other standard point, I can define like that. Am I right? Any other standard point. This is potential. Again, this is potential as into infinity. Am I right? I can define the whole integral like this also. Isn't it? So now look at here. If I define it like this, again, this is one possible definition. Just see this one here, concentrate here. Now look at here, you can choose v of infinity 0. Usually that will be 0. You can choose that one 0. Okay, you can choose that one 0. Potential at infinity is 0. What do you mean by potential at infinity? What do you mean by infinity? For a finite charge distribution, I'm just talking about finite charge distribution here. Just see the formalism, isn't it? I can write this one like this. Am I right? By choosing some reference point. Am I right? By choosing some reference point, I can write infinity to r, v of r minus v of infinity. Or I can write this one, infinity to r integral. I can just convert that one into infinity to reference point. Am I right? So, and that reference point to r. And I think I can take negative sign inside. Again, reverse way, whatever I have derived for potential difference. Is that okay? If I do that one, so I can again, these both are choosing some reference point. You better write like that. Okay. You can write this integral as potential at r by choosing some reference point. Potential at infinity by choosing some reference point. Or if you are not getting convinced, write down the definition. O to r E bar dot dl bar minus minus of minus O to infinity E bar dot dl bar. O to infinity E bar dot dl bar. Now this will be converted into this integral. You can just check it out. Wait a second. Now if you define it like this by choosing some finite reference point, so what is this one? This can be called as potential at infinity. Am I right? What do you mean by infinity? Infinity means you are escaping from charge distribution. Isn't it? Infinity means, so from infinity you can't see any charges. That is the meaning. If you have any finite charge distribution, you are going to infinity means you are escaping from that region. Or you can't see that point charges like that. Is that okay? So now what we are going to choose is potential at infinity equal to 0 for finite charge distribution. Because you are escaping from the charge distribution, and then again you can choose this one as a constant. There is no ambiguity, remember. You can choose this one as a constant. Potential as infinity as a constant. But what we choose here is potential as infinity at infinity 0. So thereby again you can have the same definition. Is that okay? You can have the same definition. Potential at r, that's equal to minus infinity to r E bar dot dl bar. So one possible definition is by choosing the reference point infinity. Other one is take the potential difference definition, choose potential at infinity 0, then also you will get same definition. Okay, so that's why this is true, or this is this definition of potential have got built-in assumption. What is that? So potential tends to 0 as R tends to infinity. Or potential at infinity equal to 0. Okay, V at infinity is that okay? This definition have got one more assumption. What is that? Potential at infinity is 0. Just read out his comments again. That is for finite charge distribution. What would happen if we try to define potential for an infinite charge distribution? Yesterday we have taken uniformly charged plane, am I right? Infinite plane. So we have taken electric field at this point n cap, electric field above or below, that's equal to sigma by 2 epsilon into n cap, am I right? Okay. So suppose n cap is along z cap. Let me write sigma by 2 epsilon naught z cap. Is that okay? So now let me take infinity as a reference point. Let me try to define potential at z. Potential, suppose this is the origin, x-axis, y-axis, x cap, y cap, z cap. Is that okay? Now I am going to define it as minus infinity to z. E bar dot. Z is a point on z axis. Okay. Let me try to define it like this. Then now what would happen? E bar dot dl bar. Now write down dl bar in Cartesian coordinate. What would happen here? Infinity to z sigma by 2 epsilon naught z cap dz into z cap dz will happen. Am I right? That's equal to minus sigma by 2 epsilon naught z running from infinity to z, that is infinity. Isn't it? Look at that. So that's why we should not choose infinity. Again, upper limit minus lower limit, maybe minus infinity, one more minus plus infinity, whatever. Okay. So that is again indeterminate. If you choose infinity as a reference point for a infinite charge distribution, you will get a problem. Okay. That's why whatever this choice only for finite charge distribution, and this choice also assumes potential at infinity vanishes. Yeah, speak out. Speak out. Any question? Okay. I mean, let me go to that one. Yeah. So you are saying, yeah, in other way, suppose if I take, I have taken point charge at the origin, am I right? Good. I forgot that one. So then I found electric field is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square r cap, am I right? Then I found V at let me just find this one, infinity to r, E bar dot dl bar. Is that okay? I can write this one as V at r minus V at infinity. Am I right? When you do this one, do you remember what we got actually? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. This was a to b, am I right? We have written a to b. 1 by a minus 1 by b. We got 1 by r minus 1 by infinity. You'll get it like that. You'll get it like that. This part will be 0. This part will be 0. Is that okay? So you can argue in that way also. V at r, that is equal to this one. Isn't it? V at r minus V at infinity. Now you can equate these two. You can say V at infinity is 0, V at r equal to this point. Am I right? This value. You can argue in that one. Isn't it? That's what he's trying to say. Yeah. So that's also a good idea. Now look at here. The reason why we have taken negative sign. So this is if this is positive, if this is positive charge, look at here. This is positive. Am I right? Q here. Isn't it? Without this negative sign, potential due to positive charge will not be positive. Isn't it? That's why. So electric field should be gradient of some scalar. We put one more negative sign to make potential due to positive charge positive. Okay, there is no physical reason. So to make it comfortable, that's it. Okay. Yeah, that's also a good idea. But for this one, I have to take one special case. I have to take one point charge and then I have to argue. I'm trying to make it very general. Now, so next one is potential of a superposition principle. Look at here, E is equal to E1 plus E2 plus E3, am I right? And so on. If you have many charges or charge distribution, you can write like this, am I right? So then you can write V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3 plus and so on. These are very important, okay? Once potential follows superposition, that means we can add, look at here, this is vector addition. Now this is scalar addition, am I right? So that's why it is very easy to find. Now take gradient, you will get this one. Take negative gradient, you will get this equation. Is that okay? That's why these two are one-to-one correspondence. You can write potential like this. Because if you take gradient, you will get electric field. Again, if you multiply by your test charge, you will get forces, am I right? F is equal to F1 plus F2 plus and so on, am I right? So we started with the force actually, very earlier. So all forces, electric field and potential, they will follow superposition principle. But look at the advantage. Now we can add like a scalar. It is a scalar. So that's why addition will be very easy. Okay. So next one is, last one is unit of potential. What is unit of potential? Volt. Okay. Unit of potential is volt, and you can, I think you can define a joule per coulomb also. Okay, joule per coulomb also, because later we shall define potential as work done on again. So if you define potential like that, work done on unit charge from moving the charge from infinity to point. That's how you defined in class 12. Am I right? Potential at any point is a work done per unit charge, work done on unit charge from moving that charge from infinity to that point in space. You can define like that, because that line integral is a force per unit charge. Electric field is force per unit charge. Force per unit charge integrated, isn't it? That's a work done actually. That's why you can just define it as joule per coulomb. Work done is in terms of joule per unit charge per coulomb. Okay. Yeah. No. Flux is zero. That can happen many cases. Am I right? In the case where electric field and area vector are perpendicular, then also flux equal to 0. There may be potential. There may be potential. Yeah, you better ask this question after some time. Okay? Yeah, why you got that question? Yeah. Yeah, again, let me quickly find electric potential due to spherical shell of radius r inside and outside. Okay, for finite charge distribution. Again, I haven't discussed the other way of finding the potential. Okay, I am just discussing potential due to finite charge distribution by line integrating electric field from infinity to r. Okay, we are finding the potential from the root of electric field. Now you can ask question, once you got electric field, why we are finding the potential? Okay, so theoretically it is meaningless actually, isn't it? Once you have electric field, why will you go for potential? Maybe you may need potential difference, then also you can integrate electric field to get the potential difference. Is it okay? But so we are studying in that way. So while doing, we are going to study that one. Okay, from electric field root, we are finding the potential. But in the actual sense, so first you have to find the potential, then you have to find the electric field, because that is the easiest way. Okay, but here it is ulta. So practically it is not correct. Once you got electric field, there is no reason to go for potential. Electric field, force is done. Is that okay? So now we are finding the electric potential from the electric field. When we can apply this one? We can apply this one when electric field is very easy to find. Okay, when electric field is easy to find? Electric field is easy to find only when Gauss law allows us to find electric field. Isn't it? We can write it quickly. So that's why, look at here. Now let me find electric field due to uniformly charged spherical shell, okay, of radius capital R. Shell, not solid sphere. So now let me find potential at a point R outside. Okay, this is the origin. Let me find potential at a point R outside this spherical shell. Is that okay? So now first thing, if you want to use this formula, you should find electric field, isn't it? Now we already found electric field due to this charge distribution. Am I right? Using Gauss law. What is the electric field? Am I right? Again, using Gauss law, you can put some Gaussian surface. You can use Gauss law to find electric field. Am I right? So now that's why electric field outside, that's equal to this one. Electric field inside, what is this one? I'm talking about shell. Okay, Q is distributed over the spherical shell. There is no charge inside. If you take a Gaussian surface inside, it encloses no charge. Yeah, bigger. So that's why electric field outside is this one. Electric field inside equal to 0. This is the situation. Okay, electric field inside equal to 0. Okay. Now I want to find potential outside at a point R from the origin. Then infinity to R, E bar dot dl bar. If you are integrating this electric field from infinity to this point, obviously you are talking about outside region. You have to take electric field outside. Isn't it? You can take any path from infinity. Why? Again, it is independent of the path. Is that over? Now again, electric field is in polar coordinate. Write your dl vector in polar coordinate. Dr r cap plus and so on. Am I right? Only that component will be non-zero when you take dot product. What will happen? Minus of, I think, q by 4 phi epsilon naught infinity to r, pick out 1 by r square dr. Am I right? I can write this r vector as a scalar r. Anyway, I have to substitute that one. So now minus q by 4 phi epsilon naught minus 1 by r running from infinity to r. Upper limit minus lower limit. So lower limit 1 by infinity 0. Okay, upper limit minus 1 by r. Ultimately, so potential outside, that's equal to 1 by 4 phi epsilon naught q by r. If we haven't taken that negative sign, you will get negative. Is that okay? This is potential due to positive charges. Am I right? I should get positive. Outside potential at any point, it is like that. Okay. Now let me find potential inside at any point r. Inside any point r here, inside. So then you have to go from infinity to this point. Am I right? You have to line integrate electric field from infinity to this point. Obviously, that definition also same. So infinity to r, but this point is inside this sphere now, inside this spherical shell. E bar dot dl bar. Now you got two different regions. One is outside the sphere where electric field is non-zero, inside the sphere where electric field is 0. Am I right? That's why you have to split this integral. So infinity to capital R. Capital R means when radial vector equal to up to this one, up to the surface of the sphere, your electric field was non-zero. Am I right? So E out, am I right? That is outside region. So minus r to small r, inside region. Okay, I'm talking about any point inside the sphere. Okay, infinity to r equal to capital R. Am I right? Radius equal to capital R. That's outside region. Okay, from capital R, when radial vector equal to, when radial, so when R equal to capital R to small r, so that is the inside region. Am I right? That's why I'm writing E out here, E in here. Is that okay? Are you getting my point? When R is inside the sphere, a spherical shell, okay, the spherical shell. So this is when R is outside the spherical shell. When it is inside, you got two regions. But it's outside the spherical shell, inside the spherical shell. So that's why you have to take from infinity to R. You are talking about outside region. R to small r, R is inside now. Okay. So now this is 0. What is this one? Infinity to R, E out dot dl. Again, exactly same integral, but this upper limit is capital R. So that will become 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by capital R. Look at here. Inside potential is constant.